So first and foremost, Mr. Hertzman, Derek Hertzman, how you feeling, man? What's going on? It's been a minute.
It has been a while since I think I've seen your face. Like you said, we've talked on the phone quite a bit. Especially, I know I called once you got your master. So again, huge congratulations on that because that was
Appreciate you.
awesome.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you.
Yeah, and like you said, when we were playing in Australia, I don't know if you remember, but I was actually doing my masters while we
You
were over
were.
while we
You
were
really
playing.
were.
So, and we were working at the same time too. So we were all super busy. Yeah, we were getting after it back then.
Yeah,
Um,
we were young and getting it, young and hustling. That was it's crazy how many years like the pandemic was like a legit like maybe a year and a half, 2 years, but it literally took like 3 4 years from everybody. So it legit we're like, wow, that was a while ago because geez,
it
when
was
did
what
I go? I went
Australia
over
was.
there
Australia was 2019.
2019,
Yeah.
yeah. So I went over there at like 23. I went
Remember.
over there at 23. Oh man. Just the thing, or maybe 24. I don't know, but it was one of the majors. And now sitting here at 29 is like, dang, how quickly, how
So yeah, if you
quickly
were
it goes
24,
by.
I'd be 26. So yeah, time does fly because now I'm 30.
Flying.
So
All right. So with that being said, Derek, tell us a little bit about yourself. I know we kind of expounded on what we did in Australia playing football, but who you are, and how you got into the career path or the degrees you have now.
so again, like Lamar said, my name is Derek. I am a psychotherapist right now, and I'm also a doctoral candidate. So I am right now, my doctoral program is called Applied Clinical Psychology, which is basically working directly hands-on with patients. So it's not as much, there is research behind it, but it's not as much the PhD, which is, the doctor of philosophy, as much as it is the PsyD, which is doctor of psychology. So my title, once I complete my dissertation, will be MS and PsyD. So I'm already have a master's in science, which is sports psychology, which right now has kind of gone back and forth on the moniker of sports psychology and performance psychology to cover a more broad scope. Um, so that said, background of how I got into this, I think psychology, being the patient, really set the scene for me when I was growing up. Dealing with a lot of ACEs, as Saran might be familiar with, it was adverse childhood experiences. And I remember seeing a psychologist was actually one of the very few places that I felt comfortable,
Mm,
and one of the few places that I felt safe, and it was kind of an escape from the real world for me to be there an hour a week. Um, so it had a very big impact on me growing up, and I will give all the credit to my psychologist back then. I'm not going to say his name, but he's a great guy, still works now, and we actually do keep in touch as well. I go back to him every now and then to do some client work myself. I think it's really important as a psychologist to have a psychologist to talk to as well. Um, Maybe Saran can back that up later on as we go on. But yeah, that was really the biggest reason I got into psychology, and it kind of went on the backside for a while when I got to college, because college was all football, and then right after college was overseas. Of course, that's where Lamar and I met, and then kind of while in that, I was kind of realizing there had to be another thing that to do, because we weren't going to be able to play football forever. And so that's kind
all
of
right.
when the masters tried to get in the master's program, was accepted for that, so on and so forth, did that, and then got accepted into a doctorate program. So it's been a lot of football and a lot of psychology, basically. So that is pretty much how I define my life.
And it goes in hand with you said your sports psychology, and what was the other one? The dual
Applied
part,
clinical psychology.
applied clinical. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So that was pretty interesting. I like how everything, came full circle. You connected it to, not only why you got into it, but you also applied it to the aspects of your life growing up in the sports realm. So everything kind of stays around who you are, what you know. And I think that it's always easier to find your passion in a career when you stick to things that are close to your foundation or your core. So with that
Right.
being said, so Ron, let's tell us about a little bit about your transition and how you moved into the field you're in now too.
Yeah, for sure. So right now I'm getting my master's in a dual degree in forensic and legal psychology, as well as clinical and mental health counseling. So I got my undergrad in psychology, just regular psychology. And rather than being on the sports side, I had a very athletic upbringing and everything, but I kind of wanted to go into psychology in a different route. And it started in high school. And I kind of aimed more towards that like criminal minds, like the mind of a serial killer route, of course. And obviously that's what everybody always thinks about when you first say forensic and legal psychology. That's where they immediately go to, is like mind reading and things like that. But so I started out with my interest of being like into serial killers and things like that. But as I progressed into my, master's and everything, and discussed with my professors and just saw the different avenues that forensics are applied in, I kind of wanted to, I guess, tailor my assistance or help more towards to kids rather than like focusing on adults, because kids are obviously more impressionable. Like adults, it's difficult to kind of change their behaviors. So I feel like it could be more impactful working with kids. So actually right now I'll be starting practicum in the fall at the Child Advocacy Center. So that'll be like a nice little taste to see like how counseling kids that face ACEs, the adverse childhood experiences that you mentioned a little bit, how that can how I can help those communities and things like that. So yeah, it's
That's
kind
cool,
of
man. Honestly, and I'm first of all right, two things. Thing number one, I didn't know about this. She's doing a lot of stuff on her own. So yes, even though we are siblings, a lot of the stuff I don't know about. But also a disclaimer. When she says she's into serial killers, understand she's talking about the study of the mind. So I don't want anybody being like, oh, but she's always been interested. Like she's watched Beyond Scared Straight, like all those 48 hours, that stuff. When we were growing up, that was like I would never sit down there and watch her, but she's always been interested in that stuff, which makes sense because that's just this is how the mind is. So it's understanding why you thought this or you reacted or why everything went in this route that you thought of. And so psychology has a bunch of different avenues, as you can see. We have four here in the show. I'm sure there's many more that they can expound upon, but with that